There is a place deep in the heart of the English countryside, far from prying eyes, known as Ravenswood Cemetery. It is no ordinary graveyard, it is a cursed land, whispered about in hushed tones by the locals. For over 300 years, people have spoken of strange disappearances, ghostly apparitions, and a chilling history tied to the cemetery's origins. The legend begins in the late 17th century. A wealthy nobleman, Lord Alastair Ravenswood, built the cemetery on the grounds of his ancestral estate. But Alastair was not a man of virtue. It was said he dabbled in dark magic, sacrificing the souls of his enemies to gain power and wealth. The cemetery was not meant for rest, it was a prison for the spirits of those he had wronged. Over time, the Ravenswood family fell into ruin, their estate abandoned. But the cemetery remained. As years turned into centuries, rumors grew of shadowy figures moving among the tombstones. Whispers in the wind calling out for help, and an eerie raven that watched all who entered. The story shifts to the present day. Daniel Harper, an ambitious filmmaker obsessed with uncovering the truth behind urban legends, decides to document the Ravenswood Cemetery for his next project. Armed with cameras, recording equipment, and a small crew, he ventures into the cursed grounds, dismissing the warnings of the villagers who beg him to reconsider. The team arrives at sunset. The cemetery is vast, its iron gates twisted and overgrown with ivy. The air feels heavier as they step inside. Rows of ancient, crumbling tombstones stretch as far as the eye can see, and the setting sun casts long shadows that seem to move on their own. The group sets up their equipment, laughing nervously as the night falls. But as the hours tick by, strange occurrences begin. The cameras pick up faint whispers, though no one is speaking. A shadowy figure appears in the footage, standing motionless in the distance, but vanishes when they look directly at it. One by one, the crew begins to experience chilling phenomena. Lisa, the sound technician, hears her name being called from the darkness, though no one else hears it. Ethan, the cameraman, swears he sees a pale woman in a black dress standing by an old mausoleum, her hollow eyes fixed on him. Daniel brushes off their fears, convinced it's all part of the legend, until he finds a journal buried near a headstone. The journal belonged to Margaret Ravenswood, the last surviving member of the cursed family. In its pages, she writes of her father's dark deeds and how the spirits of his victims haunt the land, trapped by a ritual performed centuries ago. She also describes a way to break the curse, a ritual that must be performed at midnight using an artifact known as the Bloodstone Chalice, hidden somewhere within the cemetery. Determined to capture the ultimate footage, Daniel convinces the group to stay and search for the chalice. Midnight approaches, and the cemetery grows colder. The whispers louder. Shadows move more aggressively now, circling the group. Near the mausoleum, they find a hidden passage leading to an underground crypt. The air is damp and suffocating, the walls covered in strange symbols. At the center of the crypt lies the Bloodstone Chalice, glowing faintly. But as Daniel reaches for it, the crypt begins to shake. The spirits of the dead emerge, their forms twisted and anguished, their cries echoing through the chamber. The pale woman appears again, her voice cold and hollow. "You should not have come." In a desperate attempt to complete the ritual, Daniel reads the incantation from Margaret's journal, using the chalice to pour water over an ancient altar. The spirits scream as the ground shakes violently. One by one, they vanish, and the pale woman whispers, "Thank you," before fading into the darkness. The group escapes the crypt, but the cemetery is forever changed. The air feels lighter, the shadows gone, Ravenswood Cemetery is no longer a place of torment, but the experience leaves its mark on Daniel and his crew. They leave the village, their footage intact, but none of them ever speaks of what truly happened that night. Though the curse is broken, Daniel sometimes dreams of the pale woman standing in the cemetery, her hollow eyes watching him.
Thank you for watching Sea Story till the end. We truly appreciate your support. If you have any feedback regarding the narration, video editing, or background music, please let us know in the comments section. Also, if you have any personal stories or experiences you'd like to share, feel free to send them to us. We'll do our best to feature your story in our upcoming videos. Stay tuned for more captivating tales.